Have you ever stopped to think about how something can go from being a small, fringe idea to changing the entire world? Well, today we're diving into one of history's most incredible stories, the rise of Christianity in the Roman Empire.
So let's start at the very beginning. The most fundamental question, right? How did Christianity even get started? This is a story that begins in a tiny corner of a massive empire, but ends up changing the course of history forever.
And that's the real head-scratcher here. How does a small, often persecuted group go from the absolute margins of society to becoming the state-sponsored religion of the most powerful empire on Earth? And get this, all in just about 300 years. It's an absolutely amazing story.
Okay, to really understand how this happened, we've got to rewind the clock. We need to look at the religious landscape of the Roman Empire itself. What did people believe before Christianity ever showed up?
The Roman Empire was this huge religious melting pot. From the gods of Egypt to mystery cults from the East, Rome was actually pretty tolerant. As long as you paid your taxes and gave a nod to the emperor, you could pretty much worship however you wanted. But, and this is a big but, there was one major exception: the empire's really difficult relationship with Judaism. This wasn't just a small disagreement, it was a fundamental clash of worldviews.
And that clash, it really boils down to this one incredibly powerful concept: monotheism, the belief in a single, all-powerful God. In a world filled with gods for everything, this was a totally radical idea.
So you can see the core conflict laid out right here. On one side, you've got monotheism, the foundation of Judaism and later Christianity. On the other, Roman polytheism, the official state religion. See, Rome could easily absorb other religions that had lots of gods, just add them to the pantheon, right? But it just couldn't make room for a religion that said there was only one true God. And that made the conflict not just religious, but political too.
So it's right in the middle of this environment, this tension between monotheism and polytheism, specifically in the Roman province of Judea, that a new faith starts to emerge.
Okay, so if Judaism was the existing monotheistic faith that was clashing with Rome, where does Christianity fit into all this? How did this new religion pop up from that same conflict?
At its very heart, Christianity is the religion based on the life and teachings of a man named Jesus of Nazareth. This is the foundation, the starting point for everything that follows.
Now, this is absolutely crucial to understand. Jesus was a Jew, and his teachings were deeply, deeply rooted in his Jewish heritage. He wasn't starting from scratch. He was interpreting and building on traditions that were thousands of years old. And along the way, he attracted this group of dedicated followers, his apostles, who became totally essential in carrying his message forward.
Now, after Jesus' death, this whole movement could have just fizzled out. It could have easily become just a footnote in history, but it didn't. Instead, a mission began to spread his teachings far and wide, and this is where the story takes a really crucial turn.
So who was the driving force behind this incredible expansion? While a lot of his original apostles played a part, there's one person in particular who stands out for his absolutely tireless work in taking this message way beyond the borders of Judea.
And that person was Paul the Apostle. You really can't overstate his importance here. As a missionary, his entire life's work was to travel and spread this new Christian faith.
And his impact was, it was nothing short of revolutionary. Paul traveled thousands of miles all across the Roman Empire, planting these little Christian communities in major cities. But he didn't just convert people and then leave. No way. He wrote letters back to them. These are called epistles, that guided these new communities, answered their questions, and really shaped the core beliefs of the young religion. In fact, those letters would go on to become a huge part of the New Testament.
So we have a new faith, and we've got this incredibly effective missionary spreading the word. But this kind of growth, it didn't go unnoticed by the Roman authorities. And this leads us to the most dramatic part of our story, the journey from being seen as a threat to becoming the religion of the throne itself.
This is maybe the most astounding part of the whole story. How on earth did a small, often hated and persecuted movement become the official religion of the Roman Empire? The shift is so huge, it's almost hard to believe.
Just look at this timeline. It shows you just how wild this reversal of fortune was. In AD 30, the founder of the faith, Jesus, is executed by the Roman state. A few decades later, around AD 57, Paul is actively spreading the faith. Then, we jump forward a couple centuries to the big turning point. In 313, Emperor Constantine ends all persecution of Christians. And then, just 80 years after that, Emperor Theodosius makes Christianity the official state religion and bans all the others. It's a staggering transformation in what is, historically speaking, the blink of an eye.
So, after this incredible whirlwind journey, what are the key things we need to remember? Let's break it all down.
This right here is the headline, the main event. In just 3 centuries, a faith that was hunted and persecuted became the official, state-sanctioned religion of the Roman Empire. That's a profound and unbelievably rapid change.
So here are the crucial points to take away from all this. First, it all starts with that big clash between Roman polytheism and monotheism. Second, Christianity grows out of Judaism from the teachings of Jesus. Third, the hard work of missionaries like Paul was absolutely essential for its incredible growth. And finally, that unbelievable turnaround from a persecuted sect to the official state religion in just a few centuries. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Just imagine for a second a different timeline. What would our world, things like Western civilization, our art, our laws, our philosophy, what would any of that look like today if the Roman Empire had crushed this new faith instead of eventually embracing it? It's a question that really shows you just how pivotal this moment in history truly was.